Hello, my loves. I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being here, where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And I've got to tell you that the Sovereign program is now open, so you can enroll. The link is in the description box. And if you want to apply for personal coaching, one-on-one coaching, which will be around healing and life coaching, then reach out in the links there too. Other than that, let's get on with this. So I want to clear up the misunderstandings about this and make it crystal clear, everything that you really need to know. Love bombing is a form of manipulation, yeah? And narcissists work in the psychic realm. So they're intuitively sort of scanning. If you've seen the narcissistic stare, you will see it's like a scanner. They're scanning you. They'll look at your weaknesses, right? And the love bomb stage is a way in which they idealize you. They put you on a pedestal. They make you feel so good, right? That you form a very strong attachment to them. But let me explain how it's working. One, they're not actually mirroring you. Please let me explain this because it gets misunderstood. The concept of mirroring is the idea that if I'm, say, an angry person, other people might show up angry to me to actually help me see my shadow, to reflect back how I'm showing up in the world, right? Not everyone you meet mirrors you, and not everything you attract is because of law of attraction, but mirroring exists, as does law of attraction. We just have to understand what's what. So we have to come into our own self-awareness and see what's really going on. Now, a narcissist isn't actually mirroring you because they're not reflecting you back to you, except for they're creating an illusion of that. So they're very good at intuitively and psychically figuring out what your ideal mate, what your ideal mate is, what would make you feel good. They're scanning this information, they're working in the psychic realms, and then they're going to project the illusion that they're that person, right? And a lot of this is related to our unmet needs. There's a part of Sovereign where I teach you to look at your unmet childhood wounds, your unmet needs, because the narcissist will project they are your source of something that you either want or has been an unmet need in you. So how are we going to spot this is going on? I'm going to let you understand this so that you'll be manipulation free, right? You'll see it early on. The first sign that they can't help themselves on is they'll beef you up, they'll idealize you, and it will seem inappropriate. They might say, I love you too fast. They might start using we language a lot, us, we, when you hardly know them. You know, I've seen that with narcissists where it's like, oh, you know, we could be doing this next week. We could be doing that. And I'm like, I hardly know you, right? Where's all the we coming from? There's no established we yet, yeah? There's no consent to that. So they might say they love you. Often they'll force a relationship, speed it up too fast, get you on a trip, get you somewhere on your own, introduce you to their family, and often a lot of flying monkeys that are projecting an ideal image that isn't true behind the scenes, by the way. They're great at setting up a network to look a certain way to support their projection. But there'll be something inappropriate in how they idealize you, and although you might want to buy the lie, take the cookie, it's a poison one. So we want to know this is coming from the dark side. It's not a cookie that doesn't come clean. It doesn't come clean. It's a poison cookie. You'll feel it's off early on if you stay aware of yourself. But yes, there's probably an unhealed wound or something you really want that they're pretending to be the source of. Because remember, the narcissist's goal is that you make them your God, that you're obsessed with them, you can't stop thinking about them, your whole life becomes about them and not yourself. So you're going to see this. Another thing they'll definitely do is trauma bond you early in subtle ways. Let me explain. A narcissist will get you to overshare. You know those conversations where you kind of got hijacked like by someone and like you were kind of spun into giving a lot of details, and afterwards you kind of feel a bit gross often. You feel like, oh, you know, that was a bit much. I've shared more than I'd have liked to have done, and you're not quite sure how it happened. That's what they get you to do. And when you, I, us, we share a lot of personal information, right, it automatically forms a strong attachment to the person we share it with, whether or not they're safe, secure, or trustworthy or not. Right? So they'll get you to divulge personal information, and they know that people like to talk about themselves. A lot of us haven't been really heard. A lot of people aren't really heard by people. So the narcissist will pretend to want to know about you. They'll get you to share something, often intimate. Sometimes they'll ask you questions about your past, and I've been there, where you think, oh, they must really care. Why are they asking me about that thing? But what they're really doing is getting me to share my trauma, because then I'll feel a full sense of connection and security with them, and it's the beginning of a trauma bond. And they'll introduce trauma bonds in quite early on. So they'll be subtle to start with. They'll make you think you lost your mind, because you'll be like, did they really mean to do that? Did they really say that? It will seem like odd behavior, but what you're getting when they're actually trying to traumatize you is the real them. That's who they really are. So if someone's making you overshare, if you feel like, gosh, I feel a bit like gross, I feel like I've overshared, but you'll also feel a strong connection because it's an intimate thing, you know they're pushing you there. They might not seem to be pushing. They're going to rush the relationship. They're going to know, they do intuitively and psychic know your pains. I've also had this with narcissists where they actually make an assumption, yeah? They'll say something like, oh, I could just tell you were like this. And actually, that wasn't how I was feeling at all, but they make the assumption, and it's always going to be linked to some kind of pain or fear or trauma, and then they'll present that they're the one that can help me with that. Don't worry, I'll never do that to you. Yeah? My ex asked me if I'd ever been assaulted, and presented how he would never be that kind of man, you know, and he wasn't a good man at all. But like, they fake values, but they find the trauma first, and then they're the one that would never be like that, right? So they'll do that, and then they're trying to make you their source. And often they haven't got it right. Sometimes they can pick up on it. Sometimes they're projecting fears on you. Because remember, a narcissist projects negative emotions, jealousy, fear of abandonment, insecurity. They project something early on. So they might say, like, I noticed that you were like feeling a bit conscious in that party. You might have felt fine. But then all of a sudden you're like, am I okay? The narcissist will leave you with those kind of questions like, am I okay? Am I seeming weird? Did I seem insecure? Right? You could have been fine. And then they'll be like, don't worry, I've got you. But there's this game going on, right? Think about it. So what do you need to do to be immune? Keep hold of yourself and be a great observer. Now, narcissists are going to want you to react fast. Most of us are not taught to process our emotions, which is why come into Sovereign. I've got some gold for you in there. But the more non-reactive, present, observant, and in touch with ourselves, how we really feel we are, the better. The less you can be duped in your own energy. When you feel someone sucking your energy, draining your energy, hijacking your energy, take it back. Reflect. If you've had some of these conversations and you feel railroaded and you feel like, gosh, I'm being swept up in this, and they're going to sweep you up emotionally. Why? Because when your emotions are high, your intelligence is low. This is how the body works. So if they get you all like in a frenzy, excited or something about what they want, you know, taking you away on the love bomb stage or something, you're not thinking straight. So we've got to regulate, get a journal or write on your phone some notes. Start being observant, reflecting. It's not being mean. We're not looking for the worst in people, but we've got to learn, especially if you've been in these cycles, not to assume the benefit of the doubt either. We've got to learn discernment. This has been the journey of my life. So we can't project our empathy, kindness, and hearts on people that haven't actually shown us that yet, right? So I did feel uncomfortable. I did feel a bit weird that we got into that conversation. I feel like I've overshared, but you'll also start feeling a strong connection. That's also a red flag. When you start feeling a lot of affectionate feelings or a strong pull to someone you don't really know, red flag. Smell a rat. Join Sovereign if you can. Contact me about coaching. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.